Hey guys, so in today's video I am super excited to be sharing a technique on how to create your own dip powder colors at home. So let's get right into the video. So this method is actually pretty simple. All you need is clear acrylic powder and then your eyeshadow color of choice. I've seen this method done quite a few times on YouTube, and I think that the appeal to this technique is that you can really create any shade that you want, which I think is super cool, and it sort of just feels like a little experiment creating your own dip powder. So in this video I'm going to be sharing exactly how I did it and the results of the technique. So I'm starting here with just a plain clear acrylic powder, and I put some of that into a dip container. And then here is the gorgeous eyeshadow color that I'm using. I'm not a super big eyeshadow person, so I really didn't have any colorful eyeshadows to use, but I did think that this brown shimmery color was a really nice neutral and a fun shade that I could use to mix up. So I'm just taking the end of a cuticle pusher to gently scrape off some of that pigment from the eyeshadow pan. And then I'm just taking that finely scraped up eyeshadow and mixing it with the clear acrylic. Now this does take a little bit of getting used to get the ratios right. I think in this case I added a little bit too much of the clear powder, so I had to add much more eyeshadow than I was originally intending. So you just have to work with it and keep playing with it until you get your desired effect. And I actually decided here that I wanted to add a few of the other shades in this palette. So I'm just scraping off some of the pigment and then again continuing to pour it into the dip container with the clear acrylic powder. And one thing that I really like about this DIY dip powder is that you can really customize the shade to be anything that you like. So if you are missing some color in your collection, you can totally mix it up if you have that shade in an eyeshadow. Now, I'm gonna be honest, do I think this is going to replace regular dip powders that you can just go buy? Absolutely not. I think there is definitely something cool about just purchasing dip powders. There are many brands that have really unique shades. But I do think that this is just a fun little method if you are looking for something to do, or like I said, if you want to have a specific shade that you can't find online. So once I am happy with all of the pigment that I put into my clear powder, I'm just taking a mini spoon to mix all of that together and try to get out some of those larger chunks. You definitely want this to be as smooth as you can get it for an easier application. After mixing up the powder, I realized that I needed to add more eyeshadow to get a more opaque look. So again here, I'm just scraping up more of that eyeshadow pigment and continuing to pour that into the clear powder until I am happy with the desired outcome. So once I was pretty happy with how the shade was looking in the dip container, I did go ahead and test it out on a swatch stick just so that I could see what it would actually look like on a nail. So I'm just putting some base liquid onto a swatch stick, dipping it into the powder and tapping off any excess, and then I did go ahead for a second coat, and I was really impressed with how this shade looked. I actually kind of liked that there were some bigger eyeshadow specks of pigment in the powder. I think it gave it a little bit of dimension, and I think the brown color was just a nice transition from fall to winter to spring. So here I'm just activating the powder, and then I'm adding a layer of top coat so that I can get the full effect. And here's an up-close look at the swatch, and I was really happy with how this looked, so now I'm going to go ahead and get started with my actual manicure. So I have prepped my natural nails off camera, and now I'm just going in with a layer of my Holo Taco Peely base coat for a super easy pop-off removal of my dip powder manicure. And I'm just applying a nice thin layer of this to all of my nails, and then letting that dry completely before moving on. For my dip manicure, I'm using my Virgo and Gem dip powder base coat, and I'm going to do my standard dip application routine with this DIY eyeshadow dip powder. So I'm just starting off with a thin layer of the base coat on my entire nail, then I'm going to dip into the powder and tap off any excess, and I will repeat this process on the rest of my nails. And just like I did on the swatch, I'm going to be doing 2 coats of this on all of my nails for a fully opaque dip powder look. Now, one thing that I do want to note is the eyeshadow does make the powder a little bit more fluffy and different than a normal formulated dip powder. So I did have to dip the nails straight into the powder instead of at an angle, which I mean isn't really a super big deal or anything like that. The application was still really smooth and it acted like a normal dip powder. So I didn't really have too many concerns with the formula, but I did want to note it did feel a little bit different. And here I'm just going in for a second coat, like I said before, just to build up that color coverage. Once I'm happy with the color application, I am going to clear encapsulate using my double dip clear powder, and I'm doing the same dip application routine as before, applying a thin layer of base to my nail, dipping into the powder, and then tapping off any excess. And this is really just going to protect that color underneath from filing, and make sure I don't take off any of that beautiful shimmery pigment. Once all of the powder layers are complete, I'm going to activate using my Virgo and Gem activator, and I'm applying 2 generous layers of this to all of my nails to fully harden up the powder and make it ready for filing. And then I did go ahead and file the nails off camera after letting the activator dry fully, and I got a super beautiful smooth look. And then of course, after filing is complete, I am going to seal in my manicure using a gel top coat. This one is from Madame Glam, and this is just going to seal in that dip powder and add a really nice beautiful shine to my nails. So I'm doing a thin layer of this to all of my nails, wrapping the free edge and then curing for 30 seconds in an LED lamp. And when the top coat is fully cured, I'm going to rehydrate my skin and nails using my Happy Cuticle Coat Oil. And since I used a peel-off base coat, I decided I would go ahead and share the pop-off removal at the end of this video, so here is that. And then here is a complete look at the manicure I was able to create using my own DIY dip powder. So I actually had a really fun time making this video and trying a new technique, and I think this is a super cute and fun idea if you are looking for something to do to create your own dip powder. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like and subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next one.